brothers, and welcome back to LRS TV Studios. This week is filled with all sorts of fun.
Let's hop straight into our upcoming events.
We will be having Veterans Day on the 11th, which is also a day off from school.
And the next day after Veterans Day, on November 12th, the soccer awards are being handed out in the gym for the high school and middle school boys and girls. We are excited to give out awards for these teams that work so hard to earn their spots. Then,
on the 15th, the juniors and seniors will be taking a trip to White Mountain Community College.
After that, the 8th grade will be going to New Hampshire Technical Institute on November 15th.
The academic team will also be hosting a tournament. The academic team will be hosting a regional tournament of the New Hampshire Quiz Bowl League on Saturday, November 23rd. The schools will also send teams at both the varsity and junior varsity level to compete in several rounds of academic quick recall trivia.
The Toys for Tots on October 28th till December 6th begins. You will be able to donate wrapped toys for points. 1 toy is 1 point. $2 is also a point. All these points will be added up, and the number 1 receives a pizza party and 100 points. Second place gets 50 points, and third gets 25.
That's all we have for upcoming events. Now let's cover our past events. For the academic team, what really was the tournament about?
Basically, it's academic and current events kind of trivia. It's mostly just fun, although we do get a little competitive.
So for the questions, is it just like trivia from what you learn at school, or is it like book related?
Yes to both. It can also involve questions from art and music and movies, current events. It's wide open. It's not unusual to have a question from like a German philosopher and then follow it up with a Taylor Swift question. Anything's game.
Does the academic team do they create some of the stuff that you guys do?
No. The questions, when we go to a tournament, the questions are purchased from an outside source so that nobody knows what the questions are going to be. That makes it fair, right? The nice thing is sometimes we get a chance to keep the packet of questions so we can keep practicing.
So, when you guys started, who was the one who made the academic team a thing?
Me. I thought it would be really a lot of fun.
What do you think the hardest thing about being a part of the academic team is?
Trusting your first instinct. You know, if you're a player. The hardest thing is that we're training kids to be polite and pleasant and all that and wait to hear the whole question and stuff in class. But when you're in competition, as soon as you think you know, you need to buzz in. And the problem is that we're too nice, we're too polite. And the other teams buzz in before we do. It doesn't mean that we don't know the information, it's just we're not faster.
During tournaments, how are the points based?
Mostly in the tournaments, for the ones that we go to, that you get a point for a correct answer. And they're usually 10-minute rounds, so it's not you have to get to 21 or whatever. It's, whoever is ahead at the end of 10 minutes, and if it's tie at the end of 10 minutes, then you got to play till you win. There are no ties. Other tournaments, big tournaments, there's these NAQT tournaments and things. Those are national tournaments, and there's qualifiers locally and everything. Those have negatives. Those are hard. They also do like 3-part questions where you get more points the earlier in the question you answer. Those are stressful, to be perfectly honest, because if you goof, you cost your team. I don't like the pressure of those tournaments, at least for our team, because like I said, we're small. We don't have tryouts to, put the top people or whatever. We just go when we have a good time. And our goal is always to score in every round. I'm happy if we at least don't get blown out. That's great. We win a few rounds, even better. Our most recent tournament, we have a very young team, a whole lot of new members. We scored in every round except for 1 out of 10 rounds, so that was pretty good. And we actually won a round. And I was pretty pleased with that too. I'd like to win more, but that takes more practice, right? You only get better if you keep doing. So yeah, invitation, please. Anybody who wants to join, that'd be great.
Thank you for your time. Now that we've recapped the academic team, let's move right on over to semifinal in the girls' varsity playoff game.
This year, the varsity girls placed 8th in the state and landed themselves in the playoffs. Their game was in Colebrook on October 29th. The game ended in a loss 3-0. Although they lost, it was a hard-fought game, and their season was very promising. The team is very young, and we hope to see them do even better next year. We also want to congratulate Ellie Wilcox for making the New Hampshire All-State team.
Thank you, Sawyer. But now, let's swap over to Augusta for the events on Halloween.
Hello, I am Augusta, and on today's episode, we will talk about our spooky week. We had a week full of Halloween fun. The elementary students, pre-K through 5, participated in a fun activity. The activity was to pick out a pumpkin that was gratefully donated by Newmont farm owners. Then, on October 29th and 30th, the Chat Club celebrated Halloween with the elementary school students one day and high school students the next, having a lunch bunch. These lunch bunches were full of fun activities which included Mario Kart and movies. The students who attended were given some yummy desserts for coming and supporting the Second Chance Animal Shelter. On October 31st, the elementary school celebrated Halloween by wearing their costumes for a parade which started at the school and went to the New England Wire and then back to the school. Then, when the elementary school students arrived back at school, they did a mini parade throughout the school showing off their costumes. Elementary school students had a Halloween party. And that's a wrap to our Halloween fun throughout school.
How'd you feel about earning the chance to join the All-State team?
Brent texted me on Team Reach that night and told me that I had made it, and I had always heard about people making the teams and as an 8th grader and a freshman, so it was I was the youngest on the team to make it, so that was pretty cool, and I'm really proud of myself, I'd say, and I think it was definitely a big accomplishment knowing that I was one of the youngest people that made it on the team. I'm super happy about it, so yeah.
So as you said, it's just full of all of the top people and how you were the youngest and stuff. What made you feel you stood out? How did you feel you earned it?
I think definitely being a midfielder on a team is a huge responsibility, having to control because you're in the center of the field and you have to control your outside halves and what you pass to your forwards, you drop back to your defense, and you have to talk a lot and know where everyone is and what passes to make. So I definitely think that that stood out to other coaches who voted for it, of how well I can communicate and the passes I look for and how I can pick my head up and look for my teammates. So I definitely think that was a factor.
What are your goals on this team?
My goals for this year were to make Athlete of the Week, and I was able to do that for Caledonia Record and New Hampshire Sports Page. So I didn't win either of them, but my goal was just make it on the ballots. So I did that, so I'm super proud of that, because not everyone gets to make those. And then also I'm hoping to get my 100 points by my senior year. So with goals being 2 points and assists being 1, I think I'm close to 70 already points. So I have 2 more years to get 30 points in. And then also be able to get those 100 points for Araya, because we have a little assist goal. If she assists me, I make the goal.
Back and forth,
yeah,
back and forth.
So I'm really hoping that she's able to get those points in. So even if next year I get my 100 points, I'm really hoping that I can get some points in for her as well, and the rest of the girls on the team.
Congratulations, Panthers. We've ended quarter 1, leaving 3 more quarters up to school. Stay strong and never back down, never what?
Welcome. My name is Jaden Heselton, and today we are going over the recent addition to Parker Block, the Wildflour Cafe. We will now go to Carrie Alsop and Matt Jones, who are the owners of Wildflour. How do you guys as a Wildflour as a whole contribute to this community?
Well, we're still quite new, so we'll probably figure that out. But I think based on what we've been seeing in the first few months, we've kind of created a bit of a gathering place for people, before and after work throughout the day to stop in and have a cup of coffee and hang out. I should have mentioned first, we contribute by providing good food and coffee and baked goods, homemade, fresh every day. And yeah, we've seen, lots of people from town that they run into each other here and they start talking and catch up after not seeing each other for a little while. And then I think on top of that, being in the Parker Block building here, we're hoping, and the idea is, that it's kind of contributing to the ongoing sort of economic improvement of the area. There's some new businesses in and around Lisbon that have been coming up. And so I think, our initial kind of appearance here in Lisbon is kind of adding to that as well, so I'd say kind of those three things.
Being part of the community.
Yeah.
Creating community here.
Yeah. So.
Have you guys been here for the festival yet?
This past summer, yeah.
Yeah.
It was our first one.
How'd you like that?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We worked our own little booth and everything. We didn't really explore too much, but it was really cool to see so many people come and just like this event happen here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that they would set up rides or anything in that
Yeah.
lot, and then it just appears.
But what kind of impact do you want to leave on every customer who comes in? How do you want them to feel when they're walking out?
Wow, that was good. Or they were so nice in there, or what a great
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
I felt at home there.
Yeah, definitely feeling at home and feeling like they want to come back.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself. I had good food. Obviously we have an open kitchen design too, so sometimes people learn things. They watch, what Carrie's making, or they see how something's being prepared, or how the coffees are being prepared. But ultimately, just that feeling of being at home and being welcomed and hopefully full and happy.
Do you plan on collaborating with any of the local businesses or just local events that typically happen around here?
Yeah, we're very open to supporting and helping the business community. We're still new, so we don't exactly know what that's going to look like. But
we're also already providing desserts to Free House, the Littleton Free House in Taproot,
True.
and some of our crumb cake over to the Hungry Bear in Franconia. So we're kind of spreading our little spiderweb places.
What made you decide to come to this community, Lisbon?
So a lot of people have asked us that, and the answer we kind of give is Lisbon in a way chose us. We had kind of identified this area as somewhere we would like to move and sort of settle in a little bit, potentially start a business. And we were looking at some of the surrounding towns, and ultimately some things that we were exploring didn't work out, and we found a place to live here in Lisbon. And then after moving here, we saw the renovation that was being done on this building, and we saw the location. We kind of had the vision of this thing that we were trying to do or considering doing could do really well in this location that's being worked on. And then we ended up speaking with Craig and Lindsay Myers, who are the owners of the building and who really helped us build this thing out. And it just kind of all fell into place in the right way.
Kind of the first up in line. How does it feel?
I mean, great. We, we didn't even really know that we were acting as quickly as we were. We just moved to town. We saw the sign.
Coincidence.
Yeah, it was a good coincidence. And but Craig and Lindsay have been great to work with. They, in fact, have told me that when they bought the building and started renovating the space, they envisioned some sort of bakery or cafe coming into one of these units. And then shortly thereafter, we had reached out to them on a complete coincidence. So it sort of worked out really nice. But it's great. It was definitely great. Obviously the space is a predetermined size, but it was, you go look in the other units on this floor, they're completely raw. There's nothing there. So, it was really useful to be able to say, okay, we would like a sink there. We need outlets here, because nothing was there was something here, but they had removed it all, so it was very open and easy to at least design. I mean, the work that they put in was incredibly hard. The vision was there, and it was just a matter of, and then the work itself was difficult. I mean, we didn't, you know, the crew that built it spent a lot of hours, you know, and we'll be forever, you know, grateful to them.
Yeah.
But
They did so much.
they did an awesome job of taking her plan, you know, and making it a reality, which was great. So it was like, because she came up with the floor plan, and then it was, you know, they worked off of that. So
Thank you, Carrie and Matt, for your time and the delicious food you contribute to Lisbon. But now, let's go to Lindsay and Craig Myers about the Parker Block and their business. What do you guys, as Myers Construction and Renovations, entirely do?
Well, typically what we do is we look for local property that is in our community or surrounding communities that they would be considered unusable, unlivable, or they'd be considered a low-class housing. And we go in and buy them and typically 100% retrofit them to today's standards. And we shoot to make them nicer housing units than, say, the average housing unit is around, and still stay within market rate as far as rent is.
Why was it important for you guys to purchase Parker Block?
Well, I'd say we lived at High Street, which is, you know, 3 streets up from Main Street, but between the alleyway we looked at the Parker Block. And so when we originally bought this building had been condemned, and the Parker Block was still being lived in, but and I think the old owner wouldn't have, it was just in derelict shape, and there was a lot of crime being ran through there, a lot of drugs being sold out of there. The police were there every single day. There was a lot of issues internally with the people that were there, and it didn't matter if one person left, another filled the void to still create the chaos. And so when you see this every night looking off your porch and you see the police down there, you know, like, I think our long-term vision was, if this ever comes up for sale, we're going to try to buy it. And everybody lives in a town for a reason, right? And if you don't feel safe on the main street, that's an issue. It's a big issue. Like, you need to be okay with walking down Main Street at night, having your kids ride a bike down Main Street, and feel safe about it. And if you can't, then it should not be the main street.
Did you guys envision, like, what did you guys envision, like, what kind of businesses would come into that sort of area? What were you guys thinking?
Well, when we first were looking for potential tenants, I think we both agree that in the world, there's a weird thing that when you put something out in the universe, something pokes out here. If you push here, something pokes out here. And we had said 2 days prior to meeting the owners, Matt and Carrie, that it would be cool if we found somebody to put in a bakery. And this is no lie. We said this out loud, and 2 days later we got a call, and we're like, huh. And we didn't, you know, when we met them, we didn't even vet that they were like legit restaurateurs. We just assumed if they were interested, we were very interested in letting them pursue that.
How did you guys contribute to that construction process?
I mean, I'd say we were there for the entire process. You know, I have a crew, internal crew that we do majority of the work. The mechanical sections the subcontractors do, but I'm still there day to day. So I would say we were there the entire way.
What changes do you expect to see kind of like in the future?
You know, I think now that we've seen the bakery do well, we're trying to push more for food-based, you know, restaurants to come in, even if they're a bar, to appeal, to have a reason for people to show up to town, because there's a variety of options. And they don't need to necessarily stay here, but just coming at night and, you know, on the weekends and spending their money in the local economy and dressing up the Main Street, you know.
Yeah. Thank you all for your time. And now, back to the anchors. Bang! Bang!
Thank you, Wildflour and Myers Construction, for your time. Now, let's go to Sawyer and his question of the week.
What NFL team is going to win the Super Bowl this year, and why?
I think the Bills are gonna win because they got Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's like the best player in my opinion. I think he's a great quarterback, and he can carry the team to a win.
Who is going to win the Super Bowl this year and why?
The Bills. I think the Bills because they have a really solid offense. Even if every throw isn't like a Hail Mary or a touchdown pass, they whittle their way down to the end zone, and the defense is solid enough to keep up something like that.
We will now turn to the club spotlight with Augusta and the National Honor Society.
Hello, I am Augusta, and on today's episode, we go to Emily, who is a part of the National Honor Society, and she will tell us a little about the NHS and about a movie night that happened on October 25th.
NHS is an organization within the school, but it's also a national organization, so it exists in other schools around the country. And NHS stands for National Honor Society, so we do different things like community-based projects, service-based projects, and then also like school-related events. NHS benefits the school by increasing more community events and community service opportunities, but it also, I feel like it benefits the students more because it gives them more opportunities to be included within the school, as well as like improve upon the 4 pillars of NHS, which are character, service, leadership, and scholarship. So it kind of acts as a way to improve students and students' well-being, as well as making them like a vital piece of society within the school. NHS created the movie night. We were kind of just brainstorming events for something to do to kind of kick off the year, but also start to raise money for the Education Foundation, which is helping to fund the New York and Washington, D.C. trip. So when we were brainstorming, we figured a movie night was a good way to kind of bring in students as well as parents of the students into the school to just help raise money as well as attend a fun event for the school. And we decided to do a PG and a PG-13 movie to kind of draw in 2 different crowds. So instead of just having like younger students in elementary, we also wanted to grab some like high school students and people that are a bit more mature to also come to the event. So we really created the event and orchestrated it so that it could be for everybody in the school as well as parents, so that they could come and everybody could enjoy a fun night while also raising money for a good cause. NHS, as I've said before, does a lot of like community service events. Like in past years, we've done the Rake and Run and just other things to kind of benefit the community. We've also done like service projects, which include the annual blood drive that we do down at the Lisbon Wire Mill. And every year we also do the senior sweets drive. So we drive around Lisbon to different houses, as well as the like assisted living area, and then give them boxes of donated like cookies and muffins and cupcakes and stuff like that, just like some sweets to kind of brighten up their holiday. And then other than that, we just plan things that we think the school would benefit from having, as well as if something needs like donation to, we kind of like plan an event so that we can have some money to be donated towards that cause.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Well, that's all for the Club Spotlight.
Let's transition to our final piece of today's broadcast. We will go to Astrid Hoyt and her story on Lisbon Main Street.
Thank you, Jaden. For one of today's big stories, I'll be going over the trunk or treat and how the trunk or treat has helped our Lisbon community.
What is trunk or treat?
Trunk or treat is an event where residents get together and host their trunks decorated how they like to decorate them for trick-or-treaters. And the people that do the trunks are the ones that live out of town, so that they don't normally see trick-or-treaters, but they do now.
Who started the trunk or treat?
Lots of towns actually do trunk or treats. We had a resident ask us to do a trunk or treat because she never sees trick-or-treaters, and that's how we started it.
How does trunk or treat help our Lisbon community?
It brings people together that don't normally come to town to see all the festivities.
How's the Main Street done for Lisbon School?
We encourage the kids to become involved in the community and do the parade, do community service for like the Lilac Festival Parade, Christmas, any area events that we do throughout the year. So we encourage the kids to become involved so that they can get community service hours too.
How do you get to be a member of Main Street?
Anyone anyone can come and volunteer their time for Lisbon Main Street. We meet typically the first Wednesday of every month at the train station or the art gallery, depending on what's going on at the train station. But anyone can join Lisbon Main Street. Well, I suppose anyone over the age of 18. It has to be an adult, I suppose.
How long have you been coming to Trunk or Treat?
We've been doing the trunk or treat for as long as they've done it, so I'm not sure if this was 6 years. I don't know. We did it up at school for the first few years, and then we moved down here. So.
How's Trunk or Treat make you feel?
Good, good. It's fun seeing all the kids, and it's good to give away some candy and goodies. So.
How long have you been coming to Trunk or Treat?
Since it started, I don't know how long it's been, like 4 years.
How does Trunk or Treat make you feel?
It makes me feel great.
How long have you been coming to Trunk or Treat?
Since it was like 3 years. Since it happened, started in Lisbon.
How do you feel about Trunk or Treat?
It's pretty awesome. It's died down in the last few years, but we're bringing it back. Look at all these kids.
Don't laugh.
It's coming back, and I'm digging it. It's great.
How long have you been coming to Trunk or Treat?
This is my second year coming to the Trunk or Treat since I have been going to Lisbon. Let's go.
I've been going to Trunk or Treat ever since it was first a thing. So I remember it being over at the church, but now it's here, which is probably better now.
How do you feel about Trunk or Treat?
Bro, it's so much fun. I get to come here with my friends, hang out, and have a great night.
I love it. I love seeing everybody that does it and all the trunks that are so beautiful. Boom! Ah, your hair!
Thank you to the Lisbon Main Street community for helping our community as much as they do. And now, back to Jaden.
Thanks, Panther fam, for watching our broadcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for our next episode. Thanks again, and have a great day.